What's up, TIW Mafia? JP here, and we have Big Joe, and we're joined by Matt. Matt is the Smack Talk Showdown World Champion. Is that right?
I don't know if I'll say world champion, but I am the creator of Smack Talk Showdown, which is our party card game about cutting promos.
Yes. So people ask me what this was, and I sort of explained it because everyone knows what that other one is, that CAH is.
Yeah.
So I said it's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, but wrestling. Is that like a sort of a decent description of it? I mean, I know you can go into more detail than we will because it's such a badass idea. I love it.
Yeah, that's not too far off. The main difference between our game and theirs is that, for theirs, all the kind of the like comedic stuff, all the things like that, they're all like on the cards, and you just pick which one you want to do, and you play it, and then hope your friends think whatever you picked is funny. Whereas the difference in our game is we more give you prompts on what to do, and then it's your job to kind of bring that. So you have a lot more freedom with how the game works, and the cards that we have are more just kind of to help you go in the right direction, and then after that you kind of take it to where you want to be and how it works. I can go into I can give you our brief kind of a pitch on how the game plays.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I have a copy of it with me right here. So this is the box for Smack Talk Showdown, and the way it works is you play with 3 people at a time in a round at a time, but you can play with any number of people you want. And you start by drawing 2 of what we call name cards, and they dictate kind of what your persona is going to be for the round. So this one that I drew would be the beautiful hunk, and that would kind of be your persona, your wrestling identity.
Hold on. I'm calling gimmick infringement on that because that's me right there.
No, he said beautiful hunk, not beautiful bulk.
Well, Joe, with your glasses with the glitter on the side, that could be like our tag team.
You can't knock the pretty girly glasses I got on right now.
And then we have these cards called segment cards, which will give you a scenario, a situation that you either have to hype up or promote. So example, this one is, that's not a good one to give an example because it was blank. We have a couple blank cards in the deck. So if people want to then add their own, they can. So for this one was both wrestlers are returning from a hiatus, both left as champions, and both still claim to be the reigning champion. Who is the real champion? So that's kind of what you're going to be doing your Smack Talk about. We have more goofy ones in it and that are less wrestling focused as well. Like you are both pitching a timeshare, and the best timeshare pitch will win. You are at a mall opening, so you have to promote the stores in the mall during your promos. And then the producer, which is the third person in the round. So you have the 2 wrestlers going head to head, and then you have a producer who kind of is playing the cards and dictating the action and keeping track of time. They're going to play these smack cards, which have various things on them that then the wrestlers have to do during their promo. So for example, the speaker must run in place during their promo. There's about 350 of them in the deck. So there's all sorts of different things. Like you have to flex and pose during your promo. You have to say certain lines. You have to use certain things. You have to talk about certain things. And these will get played on the competitors during their promos to kind of trip them up, put them on their toes, give them things to talk about, and then each one of them has 45 seconds to give the best promo, and then everyone else who's not in that current round, they're the audience, and they decide on who won. Or if you're just playing with 3 people, the producer will decide on who won.
Was this like a drunk night where you guys were just sitting around with friends and said, "Oh, we can come up with this game"?
So we came up with, me and the 2 other guys who came up with it. At the time, all 3 of us worked at Harmonix, the video game company. And they do a thing every year where they have a game jam where everyone for 2-3 days gets together on teams, and you just make like a prototype game or whatever, just as like a team building type thing. Myself, I was in the QA department, and the 2 other guys, one of them, he was in the marketing department, the other guy was in the finance department. So so we didn't really have any kind of like coding experience, any art experience, and we didn't want to just kind of sit on a team for 3 days while everyone else was kind of doing all the hard work. So I posted in our internal messaging whatever groups and all that. And I was like, hey, I have this idea for a card game based on wrestling promos. Who wants to work on it? And the two other guys immediately were like, done, let's do it. So we just kind of, the first day we just kind of queued up our favorite wrestling promos and kind of brainstormed what we did. We came up with a prototype. And then after we did the whole thing and the whole game jam and we played it with a bunch of people at the office, and everyone seemed to really like it and enjoy it. And then we were like, we can really flesh this out and make a real game out of it. And then so we decided to, refine the rules, build out the cards, because I think the first prototype maybe only had like 50 cards in it or something.
Right.
And then we did a Kickstarter to do that, and then we took it to conventions and did all that. And so then we sold out our first print run, and now we're on our second print run with our first expansion.
How did you do with the Kickstarter?
That was just or how do we do it?
How did you do with the Kickstarter?
With it.
We did well. The first one we did. I think we got like right at what we wanted to raise money wise. So we were able to kind of produce it, but then we were on a shoestring budget to kind of do the other stuff and we covered some stuff out of pocket, but it was all, everything that we did, we enjoyed it because we really liked the game. We got to travel to tons of events. We got to work at the, we did PAXs, we did StarCast, we did a couple local events here as well. And so, just being able to get out and sell something that you made yourself to people who really enjoyed it is really great.
Now, you guys are up in the Massachusetts area?
Yeah, so we were all we're based in Boston. I'm based in Boston. One of the other guys is in Boston, and then the third guy recently moved out to Austin.
Us too. So we're all me and Joe grew up in Southie, so
yeah, we're all right there.
Very familiar. That's
question for you, Matt, to cut JP off. When he brought up the fact that you guys all drunk and he came up with this. Have you tried it as a drinking game?
We've played it. We've drank while playing it, but nothing like specific drinking rules.
You lose the promo, you do a shot.
That's the easiest one. Loser takes a drink, takes a shot, or something like that.
When somebody cannot do their smack, everybody has to take a shot.
Right, or just make it. If you can't do it, then you can drink. If you drink while you're thinking of the next thing you have to say.
Drink.
Okay. Drink. Now, you guys, it's funny because you were telling your history there, and there's a wrestling comic book out there too. Unpaid plug just because they're really good. It's Invasion of Planet WrestleTopia. And what's funny is you guys started at Harmonix, you said. So you guys, that's Rock Band and a bunch of other games, right?
Yeah.
And then did this. So these guys were the guys that they didn't create Leisure Suit Larry, but they worked on the last couple of Leisure Suit Larrys and started talking and created the comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny just how it works like that.
Yeah. You work at a place with creative people. So like the people who did, or the woman who did like a lot of the art for us worked at Harmonix too. A lot of people that you work at a creative place, you're able to kind of leverage that stuff to kind of make things easier for stuff like art, for feedback, for design. You're working at a company where a bunch of people play games all the time, so it's really easy to get feedback.
Where can people buy Smack Talk Showdown?
You can get it on our site. It's smacktalkshowdown.com. And we have the base game, and then we have our first expansion pack, which is this Lewd Attitude, which is 100 card not safe for work attitude era inspired pack. So it has more of the raunchy cards in that one, whereas our base game is just kind of all ages, everybody can play it.
Okay. That's a good way of doing that. Having the sort of the adult cards separate. One, it's an add-on, but two, a kid can't go in and buy a lot of those other card games now.
Yeah, that's one of the things, when we were kind of figuring out what we wanted the card game to be and what kind of cards we wanted to write. A lot of the party card games that are out there are all adult focused. They're all the same.
Right.
Like they're all like dirty questions, dirty answers, this all stuff like that. And we kind of didn't want to just do that as default. Like that's kind of, not that it's not hard, but it's just like what every single other party card game does. And the point, like I said, the base game itself, all the cards themselves are family friendly. But if you and your buddies want to get,
Yes.
like curse a whole bunch and say a bunch of terrible things to each other, like you can totally do that. But nothing on the cards say that. Whereas on the expansion, some of the cards say some of that stuff.
Okay.
JP and I grew up together, so we say that stuff to each other all the time.
Joe, true story. Joe was my bully growing up, so
I was.
it's now I bully him though.
Yeah.
I push him around.
I've made amends in the tables of
No.
turn.
Do you guys do like a lot of like Boston? I mean, not this past year, but it's starting to come up again. Boston has had a ton of like local independent wrestling shows. Do you guys go to a lot of those as fans?
The ones we would go to when we went to a handful of Beyond Wrestling shows.
Oh, I love Beyond.
Yeah, it was the kind of the primary ones that we would go to. A lot of them though, they've run out, kind of out in the suburbs, out in farther away. And for a while, I'm living in more like Brighton, Alston area.
Okay.
And, so, but so getting out to some of the shows that are farther away without a car was kind of hard to do. But back when Beyond was running shows, that was kind of one of the primary ones we would go to.
Yeah, they're starting back. I know they're starting back up. They're still they're not. I don't think they're fully open yet, so the tickets are still a little pricey on Beyond for us. But Joe Salenza, one of our fans, who actually told me he wasn't going to be listening this week because he had to work. He might be sneaking headphones in, but he said he's a fan of the game already. So
awesome, yeah, and then we would go to anytime a show came to like the Garden or something, we would always go to that.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. Have to.
Yeah,
but did you guys do good at StarCast? I would imagine there that.
So yeah, StarCast was interesting. So the 2 in Chicago, we did extremely well. We sold a ton of stuff. We did the first one in Chicago. That was, or I forget where we were at stock wise, but we sold a whole ton there. And then the second one in Chicago, we were at the tail end of our stock, and we ended up selling out the remainder of everything we had, which was great. The Vegas show wasn't as great for us sales wise, and mainly because the show itself was in Caesar's Palace, and there's a lot of other stuff to take your money and attention in Vegas than out in the suburbs of Chicago, where you're at a hotel and there's nothing else around. And then the final one we did was in Baltimore, where at that time though, we actually didn't have, we were out of stock at that point, but we had already kind of signed up for the table and all that. So we did a kind of small promo card run of like 10 cards that were all Baltimore themed. And so we sold some of those and we just kind of did some promotion of the game at that one. So we didn't really do too many sales for that.
I got a convention you might want to look into showing up and putting out a vendor booth.
Yeah.
And that will be this coming, I believe it's in August. It's called Terrificon.
Oh, yeah. We've heard of them.
Yeah. This coming event, they're going to have a bunch of the AEW stars, including Darby Allin.
Oh, nice.
So that might be a good place. I've been there. I've worked there the last couple of years, and there's a ton of wrestling fans there.
Oh, that's great.
The game will do splendid.
Yeah.
Splendid, Joe. How old are you?
I'm showing my age, all right? Splendid is a good word.
No,
you should learn that.
Have you had feedback from have some of the wrestlers seen the game and given a little feedback on it?
Yeah, so we had a handful of wrestlers play it. So we do a live show at PAX Unplugged in PAX East, where we call it the Extreme Cardboard Wrestling, and we do our Champion of Cardboard, as we call it, where it's a single elimination tournament where we do game devs versus pro wrestlers. So we get a couple of game dev people, and then we get a couple of indie wrestlers to then play the game head to head live in front of an audience at PAX. And we also did a streamed version for PAX Online, and then we've done a couple streams on our own where we've done the same thing. And they all really love, all the ones we've done, and all the wrestlers that we've done it with have really enjoyed it. And there's a couple wrestling schools, and I don't remember which ones off the top of my head, unfortunately, who have, we've give it to a wrestler or someone at a show, or that they've played it, and they will then bring it to the wrestling school and use it during their promo training. And they say, it's really helpful because it's just because again, all of it is just here's your name, so here's your persona you gotta do. Here's the here's the scenario you gotta hype up, and then you're just gonna get random things you gotta be able to think on your feet.
That's a really great idea, actually. I know, I'm friendly with a lot of them, a lot of the local schools.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's not just a game; it's a tool. It's a learning tool.
I'm gonna show up at PAX East, and I'm gonna do a run-in.
Yeah.
I don't run very quickly, though.
I was saying, Matt, if you saw him, he don't run. You saw Happy Gilmore. Remember when that guy was chasing him down?
Yeah. We'll make we'll put in some buffer time to pad it out for you.
That's such a good, because I think that, and I think you guys having like you said, having the live thing with the wrestlers and a couple of the game developers playing it, that really samples the game for people.
Yeah, it really shows, kind of shows it off, and the game itself is really simple. Like it's not very complex, but it shows it off in kind of more of this like grander scale where you got people on stage, they all have mics, you have a crowd cheering for everybody, and making noise and getting rowdy and all that. So it really kind of just shows off what the game is at like the highest, at the highest level of what it can be, and then you can just bring that into your apartment or your house or your living room.
Now, what was it like when you guys are sitting down? Like you showed us the 2 cards for the name, the Big Hulk.
Yeah.
What was the process of coming up with those type of things? Were you guys just sitting around throwing adjectives at each other? Yeah.
So for the name cards, it was just a matter of we just kind of came up with like 2 giant lists, of the like what could be a first name and what could be a last name, and then we kind of picked ones out, saying like, oh, this one would be like, if this one was mashed up with this one somehow, like those 2 would be kind of funny, and then they just would naturally kind of be funny with others at the same time, and then just figuring out so that one was pretty simple and easy. For the segment cards and the smack cards, a lot of it was it was a mix. So a lot of it was we would just watch tons of old promos, tons of old segments, just watching a lot of like bad wrestling too as well, just because that's where a lot of the more funnier cards we would get inspiration from, and just kind of getting ideas. But then at the same time, we didn't want to make the cards too kind of in the weeds or too inside baseball with what we were talking about. And then so a lot of the other cards were just stuff like, hey, we just think this would be funny for someone to do, or this is like the one like they have to promote their timeshare or something like that. We just think that would just be like a funny thing if you're kind of in the mindset like, all right, we're gonna fight, we're gonna hype up our upcoming match, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, you have to promote a timeshare, and then while you're promoting a timeshare, you have to talk about how you're going to like send your opponent through a table while you're flexing and posing. So we just thought. So it's like a mix of that, and then we kind of threw in some kind of inside jokes where if you're a wrestling fan, you'll get the reference, or if you're not, it's not like it's going to go over your head. You'll still understand what we're talking about.
Now, when you're playing and you're cutting your promos, who do you channel?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I guess it depends on the cards, but pretty much for me, I'll just channel Scott Steiner in terms of I'll just not think too much about what I'm saying and just kind of just say whatever kind of comes out. I found that's, at least for me, it's the easiest way, because if I try and think too much, you'll start pausing, you're saying a lot of filler words, and I just found like whatever, just first thing that comes into your head, just kind of let it out and hope for the best.
Just don't tell them that you're half the man that they are.
Right, exactly.
Now I'm gonna piggyback off of JP's question, his comment there, and say, cut the promo for the game.
Oh shit! Oh man! All right.
And in all fairness, you can then pull the card or whatever and give JP he'll have to cut a promo.
Oh no! You're giving him the card. He gives it to you.
Okay, I'll cut a promo.
I think that's a good idea. I'll cut the promo, hyping up the game, telling why everybody should buy it, because they should. And then I think we should play. Maybe we can play around between the two of you guys, and I'll be the producer for you too.
And by the way, your smack card, you have to brush your teeth while you're doing it.
Okay.
Hey, I'll just take them out.
No. Hang on. That would look really bad. I just realized as I did it myself. No smack card for you.
All right, Matt, let's go.
All right. So here, I'll give myself a name for this to help me get into character. All right, so I'm gonna hype up Smack Talk Showdown as the mysterious demon. All right, okay, here we go. Ooh, you know what's coming. The mysterious demon has brought to you the best party card game that has come out. Smack Talk Showdown. Oh yeah, brother. That's right. We have 550 unique cards for all your mysterious action that can turn you into anything from a demon to a dentist. Smack talk your friends, your family, your relatives, your enemies, all within Smack Talk Showdown. And you can purchase it right now at smacktalkshowdown.com for the low price of $29 or $24.99.
That was very mysterious demon like.
Thank you.
Touched with a little bit of Macho Man.
I was gonna say, well,
that's like
since
I feel
Macho
like a lot of
passed, he became the demon.
right. That's we've played with a lot of people and we found that's if that kind of the de facto is I don't know what to do. I'm going to do a Macho Man impression.
Macho or Hogan, I think people would really default to.
Yeah, perfect. It's either Macho Man, Hogan. Sometimes people do an Ultimate Warrior when they just kind of like I'm just going to scream and shout random things.
A little bit of Stone Cold, a little bit of The Rock.
Oh yeah. All right, so I'll draw.
First, JP, you or I?
All right, so we'll do a full round up with you guys. I'll draw you guys name cards. I'll draw a segment card. I'll play smack cards on you. And
what's cool is we have 3 people here now, but if you have more than 3 people, everybody other than those 3 is the audience, and they get to vote, right?
Yeah, so they get to vote on who they think won, and we also have smack cards that involve the audience as well.
Okay.
Which so there's ones like they have to chant certain, like it'll be like, oh, the audience has to chant something for 10 seconds during the promo. There's some that it's like, oh, you have to pull in an audience member and they're now like your manager or they're now doing the promo for you. So it that was one of the things we found for a lot of other party card games is what ends up happening sometimes is if you're not in one of the kind of active roles or whatever, you're just kind of either sitting around or you're not really doing anything while the other people play and you're kind of waiting on your turn. Whereas so we put in these audience cards to kind of give everyone who's not in the current round kind of opportunity to participate as well, and give them, and someone says not familiar with it or doesn't know kind of what's going on, maybe they don't know really what a promo is, maybe they don't know how it goes, they get a chance before their turn to kind of get a little taste of what they need to do, or they they just see other people doing it and it just ends up kind of working out.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so I'll draw name cards for each of you. All right, so JP, for this round you are going to be the Sadistic Patriot.
Oh yeah.
All right, and Big Joe.
That would be fun. Joe would be funnier as the Sadistic Patriot wearing the Navy hat.
You are going to be the Emerald Dragon.
Ooh.
You're a Chinese person.
All right, and for this round,
Irish Dragon.
Let's pick you. I'll just pick you a good one. All right, this one should be good. So you are competing in Worcester, Massachusetts. The wrestlers are siblings who have been rivals since birth, and neither will accept defeat. All right, so I'll draw. So before each round, so the producer will draw 3 smack cards in their hand. So they'll have 3 of them to play on the wrestlers. And then at the end of the wrestler's promo, they discard any leftovers and draw 3 more ones. And we found this is a great way to prevent people, because when we first were prototyping it, we found people would kind of pick, they would draw their 3 cards and go, oh, this one would be good for the next person, and just kind of hold on to it. And so someone might not get as many cards played on them. So we're just like, you know what? After each person's done a promo, you discard them all and you draw a bunch of new ones. So it really encourages people to just play as many cards on the people. So
And shuffle them through and keep
yeah, and
it
then you
going.
just reshuffle them, and we have so many of them. Chances are you're not going to go through them all in a game, anyways. All right, so JP, we'll have you go first. Are you ready?
All right, I am ready.
All right, and begin.
The sadistic patriot. I fought for my country. I've lost many battles. I have never once lost a war. I've never been defeated
The speaker
completely.
must emulate the mannerisms of a famous wrestler during their promo.
I've never been defeated manually. I'm running out of stuff. I've never been defeated completely.
The speaker must drag the current city through the mud.
I would talk about Worcester, Massachusetts as the sadistic patriot, but this is part of my country, and as crappy as this city is, I don't have to tell you guys how bad it is because you came here, because I know nobody at Worcester can afford a ticket to the show. So all of you guys traveled from outside and had a
part about their opponent's bad luck in the style of the blues.
And how do I sing the blues? my I don't know how to sing the blues, but I can tell you this: my brother is gonna lose. He cannot.
Well done.
All right, it was my first try.
All right, so Emerald Dragon, are you ready?
I am ready.
And begin.
I am the Emerald Dragon. My brother, the sadistic patriot, thinks that he can beat me. He is mere human. I am a dragon.
The speaker must talk about their celebrity outside of wrestling.
Now, outside of wrestling, the Emerald Dragon has a store where he sells golden dragon eggs. And I am world now, and I sell them to the stars. All over your country, Mr. Patriot, my brother, you are nothing. You can't reach my level of celebrity. You can't beat me in the
speaker
ring.
must describe themselves as if they were an apartment listing.
Now you see, Mr. Sadistic Patriot, my brother who will lose, I have spacious muscles. I have multiple places that I can go to the bathroom. I am large, wide. I reach the 10-foot ceilings. I am wide. I can view things from miles and miles away.
Speaker is now a meteorologist. Their promo must be weather-based.
Now, the heat that comes out of my mouth as the Emerald Dragon comes at your face and melts you, Mr. Sadistic Patriot, takes your red, white, and blue and makes it a pool on the ground.
And time.
I think I have to accept defeat on this one. I think I got beat.
Yeah, I mean, both were good. Both had their highs. But I think, I'm going to have to give it a big job.
You know what got me was trying to do the motions.
Yeah.
And like just having to think about it as you were going.
Well, the fact that you said, I don't know how to sing the blues.
Yes. But I rhymed it with "you're gonna lose."
Yeah, that was good. But that's also third grade.
We find like there's definitely, there's everybody has kind of their type of cards that they do better, they do worse for. But we always find, we give them an extra, someone's like, oh, I don't know what to do with this, I don't know what to do with that. We give them an extra couple seconds, and then they eventually just will say like a one-liner, or they'll do something great, and it ends up just working out. Well,
sometimes the wrong thing turns out to be the right thing because it's funnier.
Oh yeah, that's what we found. Like we have one card that's like you have to now do your promo in like a New York accent or something like that.
Nice.
And we've had people do that where they'll just go into like the most horrendous sounding New York accent, but that ends up being better because it's just funnier.
Now let me ask you both a question real quick. Is that an apartment you would be interested in?
No, I don't think so.
Me neither. Yeah.
No, it's a dump.
Well, that's why I have multiple places to go to the bathroom.
3-bed, 2-bath, right?
There you go.
Now, when you guys when you came up with like the lewd attitude and that type of thing, will there be more expansion packs? Do you think? Is there more? So
it will, kind of depend on how well it sells. this is our first expansion pack. We were able to sell out our first of the base game great, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same thing with the second edition that we have printed. And if the expansion itself does well, like we have like notes and all sorts of stuff for different kinds of expansions that we want to do. There's ones we want to do that aren't necessarily wrestling themed, but they still
Okay.
stick within the stick within the game and all that as well. So
Yeah.
to kind of start expanding out. But because we're kind of doing all this on our own and in our free time, so it's really
Right.
we can't be like, all right, we're gonna have three expansions planned down the road. We got all this, and we got all that, and then who knows how things. But hopefully that's what we want. We want it to sell well enough that and get to enough people that they're like, hey, when's the next expansion? What do you guys have planned next?
Yeah, one foot in front of the other.
Right.
Now, who was your favorite like I just take for granted that you're a wrestling fan because this came out of
Right.
Who did you watch growing up?
So growing up, I didn't watch too much wrestling growing up. I was always like aware of it. I always kind of knew who at least the top dudes were. My cousins grew up watching wrestling in the 80s, so I played with like their wrestling toys when I was like a small kid at their house, but I never watched it. I never watched. Growing up, I didn't really watch like the weekly shows or anything like that. And then probably, a little later, I would start watching shows if I was watching TV and like a run-in show would come in, and then like say like Raw would come on next or TNA would come on next, and I'll just watch it and all that. But then definitely so I was always like aware of like what's wrestling, who are the top guys, what's kind of how things work and all of that, and always kind of and always interested in the kind of performative aspect of it, because I've always loved always watched all sorts of sports growing up, always like combat sports, always watched like boxing, MMA and all that. And that's just like, all right, we're focused on the fight, we're focused on this, and then wrestling has all the more performative stuff, which is which I find some of the most entertaining stuff in it. You have a guy coming out, and like in a real, like in boxing, if someone cheats, they're banned from the sport. They get fined and all that. And then in wrestling, they cheat. That means they get a pay-per-view shot or something like that. Or that means right. Their manager then has to be like chained up, in the back while they're doing it and stuff like that. So that, and then of course, as we were developing the game, as we were making the game, then that's probably when I started watching more. It started as like, hey, I have to be watching a lot of stuff to make sure like the cards we're writing are good, that they make sense, that they kind of are more creative and more like that. We're going to a lot of conventions, and people are going to want to talk wrestling, so I got it. Want to be able to talk to them about wrestling as well, and also if they're just going to events, we meet a bunch of indie wrestlers, we meet a bunch of indie promotions, and we start watching their stuff and all that, and then just kind of compounds into like, I'm just watching a little bit of everything over here and over there. Now a lot, I don't think I'm watching, the weekly shows every week. Mostly I'll be like, I'll be like checking our Twitter account, and you'll see like, oh, like here's like this match from last night was great, you should go watch it, and I'll go check it out. Or someone will be like, this was a really great pay-per-view, you go check it out. Or and I'll watch all like the big 4 pay-per-views. Like I love the Royal Rumble's the Royal Rumble's my favorite, and I love going into that. And it's kind of more fun going into it blind and not knowing who's going to come up when, as opposed to knowing like, oh, so-and-so's coming in at number 23, so-and-so's not coming in at number 5, and just kind of be like, all right, for this next hour, it's going to be, each entrance going to be like a surprise, like who's going to come in. And like, I love that. That's great. That's like my favorite event.
Go in with the numb mind and just go with it from there.
Right. Like that's my favorite thing is just Royal Rumble match, not knowing who's coming in, just kind of seeing, and it's being like surprised at every turn, and like, seeing that 10 seconds come up and be like, oh my God, who's going to come up next? Who's going to come up next?
Yeah.
Right. So
pulls it to the edge of the seat.
Right.
Now, what indie worker would you say has been the best at the game?
The best at the game.
I mean, I think so far I'm the best.
I can think of a couple like local kids that I think would be great at this and would be fun.
So we had on one of our events that we did, we had RJ City was one of our competitors, and he did really well at it. we've had another wrestler, Big Calyx.
Yeah.
He's done
Oh yeah.
he's
Oh
done a
my
bunch.
God.
He's done a bunch of our streams and a bunch of our events as well. And
Alex is so much
yeah,
fun.
he's done real great at it as well. And
Does
yeah.
is he able to kind of break the Big Calyx character when he's doing the promo cards?
So he stays in character, which
Okay.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
This is
I was
great.
Big Calyx. Oh.
And our the first event we did in PAX Unplugged for our tournament of cardboard, our first winner there was Solo Darling, and she did.
Oh, I love Solo.
Yeah, she did extremely well on it too. And then we also had, pretty much every wrestler who we've had done it has just always done very well. It's always
That's all. Yeah, I mean, you just named some great, like, completely different in character, but I know Solo and Calyx love each other.
Yeah.
But they're completely different in character, so that's incredible, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what I expected. I expected like local guys. So you actually pulling them in from like Philly and. So
so a lot of the guys we've done it with have been in Philly, because so PAX Unplugged is in Philly. So when we first did that event, we were looking for, we were looking for a bunch of people who were already down there, right? They didn't have to fly in, or didn't have to do anything like that. And the event was done as part of League of Heels, which has been at PAXs all over the place, and they usually do video game they'll play like No Mercy or something on stage with a bunch of video game industry people. And one of the guys who helps put on that show, Pat Bear, wanted to do one at PAX Unplugged, and wanted to use our game since it's a board game, and the PAX Unplugged is all about board games. And then he knew someone who had done the League of Heels stuff with him a couple times, who works in the game industry, but also does a ton of work with the indie scene down in Philly. He does a ton of work with Kaiju Big Battle. So he's also been Ian Vafflor, and he's been on our streams and the events a lot as well. But he knows like tons and tons and tons and tons of indie workers down in the Philly scene and all over the place. So initially he was able to kind of get us in contact with a handful of people to reach out to and bring them in. And then now it's kind of, at least, for when we were the online streams, and anyone can be anywhere, it was just a matter of just reaching out to them on Twitter and saying, hey, we're doing this thing. Is this something you want to do? Are you interested? And and a lot of like that's how we got RJ City to do it. That's how we got Danhausen to do it. We just
Danhausen is so
he was on one of them too, and we just sent him a message and just asked like, hey, do you want to do this? And they said, yeah, sure, we'll do it. And we just do it. It's just a matter of just messaging enough people until someone says yes.
Where do you guys stream?
So we did it on Twitch.
Okay.
So we haven't done it regularly for logistical reasons, just time wise and stuff like that. But we did it. We did the first kind of big stream we did was for PAX Online last summer, and then I think the last month or so ago we did a series of streams where we just did it independently on our own, where we just had two people come on for about like a half hour and just played a whole bunch of rounds.
Now, I have an idea that I'll shoot by you. I won't even say it on the air. I'll shoot it by you afterwards. Someone that I have contact with that I think would be really fucking cool for that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But there's a bunch, like if you do PAX East, I have so many kids I'd love to see get down there with you. Like Alec Price would be awesome at this.
Yeah, we're always looking for people to come onto the panels, especially if they're local, because that makes it easier a little easier to convince them to come down if they're in the area.
Yeah, and plus they get to walk around PAX a little.
Right. Yeah.
So, I gotta actually there's a couple. There's a few people I'm thinking of on the top of my head for locals, so that may already be at PAX.
Right.
But yeah, I have one more piece. I have to spin a wheel. We give away an action figure every week.
Yeah.
And I just got to spin that wheel real quick to see who we're giving that to, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
One moment. It just takes me a second to bring up. We're real professional here. We're the least professional professionals.
We've been doing this for 15 years and we still screw up.
And Bobby D, you are on the wheel. I have to shuffle this a little bit so we keep it fair. And we're just going to spin. We're spinning quick. Yeah, we do a figure every week as part of the show, and to people that retweet one of our tweets. So it's
nice.
It goes a long way. I think we got a new name this week. I haven't seen this one before, I don't think. Iceberg00316, get in touch with us. You won the Io Shirai Elite figure. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yay.
Thank you. They yell at me if they'll start yelling at me in the little chat room if I don't get that done. So, but yeah, that's now. What's next for it then? I mean, it's we already know that you've got the expansion pack out. Is it just selling out of this and then getting the next one out there?
Right now, we're just focused on selling out and getting getting the word out there, getting copies out there. Because we, like I said earlier, it's just kind of 2-3 of us doing this in our own time. So we can, we don't want to get into that set of thinking too grand and trying to tackle stuff that's like outside, that we're not going to accomplish. So we kind of take things step by step. Like right now, we're focused on like we recently got our shipment in, built a new site. Have someone actually doing the fulfillment for us this time around, where the first go around we had everything just out in a storage unit near my apartment, and anytime we just got an order and I'll just drive out there, grab it, and then take it to the post office. So we're really we have better infrastructure set up, we got a better website set up, and then now we're just focused on getting the word out there, selling copies, and then once we get to the tail end of this print run, then we can kind of be like, all right, what are we going to do? Are we going to release a new one, or are we just going to kind of just get another print run going and sell it again?
Well, I'm going to be ordering as soon as we're done here. So
yeah, that's
one more gone.
Now, I'm just going to say this to someone in our chat room. Josh, I know you knew who I'm thinking for their Twitch, and how crazy would it be? Bobby D in our chat room, who's here every single week with us. Bobby's a local guy too. Bobby's another Boston guy, but he wants to know: do you have a favorite wrestler now, and who did you like when you were younger?
We already covered the younger stuff.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Macho Man.
So for the younger stuff, I guess I'll pick a wrestler who was wrestling when I was younger, since I wasn't necessarily watching when I was younger. I am a fan of Scott Steiner just because that is a lot of the promos that we watched for the game, and I just find them just like unhinged and they're just fun to watch, and they're just like weird and goofy and rambling and like whatever. And his early tag team stuff is pretty spectacular. And what he was able to do at his size. So he is a very entertaining wrestler to watch before he kind of got a little more stiff and over bulked up.
And Matt, just to let you know, the Steiner brothers do conventions. I've met them several times at different conventions.
Yeah, we saw them at one of the Starcasts we were at. And then also big fan of Mick Foley and all his stuff that he does. I think one of my favorite moments all time is the Royal Rumble where he just kept coming back out as his different personas. Yes. Like that, I just love that.
I think he actually came out as Mick Foley, probably. I think too.
He came out as.
I know it was Dude Love. I
forgot the order, but it was Dude Love. Then he comes back as Cactus Jack, and then he comes back as Mankind.
That's.
And then now I think favorite now who I like. I was on a Samoa Joe kick recently where I watched a bunch of his, just a handful of his matches, and I've always loved his matches. And he's one of the other guys who we've watched a bunch of his promos to kind of get inspiration for the game. And
if you want a match to look up, Samoa Joe versus Necro Butcher.
Oh yeah, that's one I watched recently. Yeah,
they just beat each other.
Yeah,
when they sat down in the chairs and just started slapping each other.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I kind of don't. I tend not to have like a. The way I kind of watch is like I don't have like a favorite wrestler. I just kind of go on like streaks where I'm like, oh, I'm watching a bunch of this person right now. I'm watching a bunch of this person right now. But yeah, like I said, recently it had been Samoa Joe, and watched a handful of the Dynamite Kid not Thunder Mask, Tiger Mask matches, because I had also recently watched the Dark Side of the Ring documentary. So I wanted to check out those matches as well.
Is there a local? Is there an independent that if you see them on the poster is going to get you to the show?
Yeah. So independents. Like I said, big fan of Big Calix. Super nice guy. So but also love his work. I
haven't. Calix is one of the guys from that circle I have not met yet. I've met a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That ran in that previous, and everybody speaks so highly of him, and he is such a great wrestler.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else. A lot of times when I go for indie shows, I kind of just go and and just kind of see who's there. I think when we went to Beyond shows and when he was working a bunch in Beyond, Chris Dickinson was always very always putting on good matches. Who else?
Now, would you guys think about doing sponsorships at shows?
So we did a couple before. But the problem with doing a sponsorship is if all that's really there is like our name and saying like, hey, this is Smack Talk, and they get on the on a micro, they announce, oh, and this match is sponsored by Smack Talk Showdown. It doesn't really it doesn't really do much for us. Because at least that's the kind of sponsorships we can afford, where it's like, hey, we're going to sponsor this match. There's going to be a graphic on the promotion, and they'll announce it. We right now we don't really have the budget to do like a ring mat sponsorship or kind of the bigger sponsorship. So we found it doesn't. It's better for us just to be like, hey, can we get a spot at the merch table, or can we kind of, can we like sell games at the show? Like we did that at one Beyond Wrestling show where we had a little table, so we could kind of with the merch table, so we could. During the intermission, we could say like, "Hey, come check out our game. This is what it is," and all that stuff.
I would think at Beyond that would do pretty well.
Yeah,
because they have sort of a smart crowd.
Yeah, when we did at Beyond, it's done pretty well. I forget. I don't think it was an Evolve show that we did it at, but it was another local. This was like 3-4 years ago, so I'm forgetting which one it was, but. We did it at another local show that is, also did pretty well because it stands out from the normal like T-shirts, posters, 8x10. So it does draw people over to the table to see what it is.
And it's a different size, I know, but it sort of looks like it's a collector's card box. You know what I mean? Like it was like wrestlers cards in there. But so now people come over curious to see what it is, and and you get them read it. This is our second edition box, but the color scheme and all that kind of stuff was definitely heavily inspired by the old WWF ice cream bar boxes. I wish I wish Anthony Crane was still up here. I'm glad he's doing what he's doing, but I don't know if you ever saw Anthony wrestle.
Oh yeah, we saw him a couple times. We were going to have him come on to one of our PAX East shows, but he had a conflict on the day, so we never got a chance to have him on. But
he would have been so good at this because he's a young kid, but he knows everything about wrestling since the day he was born on.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been incredible with this.
Yeah.
Now, we're just about to wrap up. So can you tell people where they can find you if they wanted to find you in Smack Talk Showdown and where they can buy it?
Yeah, sure. So on social media, you can find us at Smack Talk Showdown without the O's on Twitter. On Instagram, you can find us at Smack Talk Showdown, full word, and same thing on Facebook at Smack Talk Showdown. And then our website is smacktalkshowdown.com, which conveniently is right here on our box as well. So if you need all that information, you can find it right here. So yeah, the website is where you can buy it, smacktalkshowdown.com. We have our the base game, which is this one, which has 550 cards in it, all unique. There's also a handful of blank cards in there, so if you have ideas for your own card, you can write them. And then we also have our lewd attitude expansion, which is 100 cards, also all unique. That is that more kind of edgy, not safe for work, inspired cards.
Is there a way that people can submit their card ideas? So, like when they write in a blank card, is there a way to submit that online to you guys as an idea?
We don't have a formal way, but if someone does that, they should just tag us on whatever their social media preferences and send a picture our way. We'd love to see them.
That's Josh Richards, who Josh's family to us here says he's going to whoop our ass in the game. I don't think so. I don't think so.
You're mistaken. I think he'll wipe our asses.
Now, guys, that's all I got for this week. Matt, thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, like I said, I'm buying the game as soon as we're done here.
That's great.
Joe, what do you got to say?
I just got to say, like again, Matt, thanks you coming on. The game is great. I loved our little play. And once again, I triumphed over JP and won more platform. But again, thank you. Hopefully, we help. We get the word out. We can, pump up the sales, and hopefully, I see you at a convention in the near future.
Yeah, we're hoping to get out. Hopefully, at least by that tail end of the year, we can get out to at least another convention or two.
Yeah, I know a few people in the convention world. I can probably put it in their hands and have them, whatever.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. See you next.